I know it's kind of rough how abrupt all my videos start and stop, and mostly that's just the way I do things. I'm not like some of the guys that do moto vlogs that they leave the house with kind of an outline of what they want to talk about. Some guys will have their phone mounted right here with little bullet points of things they want to say, and some people tape stuff to their gas tank. I just don't do that. When I have the time and the opportunity to ride, I get on the bike and I go. And I've always got a camera on my helmet. I always plug the mic in just in case something happens that I've got a little something to say about. I can say it, because I learned pretty early on that you know, that one time that you decide not to plug the microphone into the camera, stuff will happen that you just really want to talk about, or you'll say something and hope you're loud enough that the camera will pick it up from outside the helmet, and it's not. Like, I was yelling one time and you could barely tell that there was a little bit of noise that might be my voice, but you certainly couldn't understand what I was saying. So I'm always wired for video and sound when I leave the house, and I go out and I ride where I want to ride. And if I see something that I want to talk about, or if I think of something, or see an opportunity to speak about something, it kind of, my mouth starts moving and words come out while I'm riding, and half the time I don't even know what I've said until I get back home and watch the video. Because my focus is not on what I'm talking about. My focus is on the road where it should be. You just kind of get this little bit of a diarrhea of the mouth, if you want to call it, going. It's a stream of consciousness coming out. And a lot of times I'll say a bunch of stuff that's either not appropriate or doesn't apply, or doesn't really come out sounding like I want it to sound. So I either cut all that out or edit around it so it sounds a little bit better. But kind of on that subject, I don't think I've even posted the video yet, but I made a video the other day where I was going down the road, and I was going down a road that I passed on one of my first rides when I went further than just the little road I live on. And it made me think about how it felt that time that I rode versus how it feels when I get out on the road now. So I started talking about what it feels like when you first get on a motorcycle. And that little talk that I did came out a lot more negative than what I had intended it to, and what the experience actually is. You know, if it was all danger all the time, nobody would want to do this. You know, it's fun. So I think what I want to do is kind of talk about the good parts of how it feels to ride for the first time. And I'll start with the MSF class, because that's where a lot of people are going to have their first few rides at, and it's kind of a natural progression. So you take the MSF class and you sit on a motorcycle and ride and do things for 2 days solid, all day, both days, but you never get above 20 miles an hour. So some of the stuff you do actually is a little bit scary in the class, because you've never done it before, and you're having to learn how to balance and use your hands working together to do the things that are just second nature when you get in a car and go to drive. But I mean, there's people there watching you, supervising, telling you how to do things, coaching you along, coaching you up. It's a positive experience, even though you're doing something that seems completely foreign to you at the time. But mostly what I want to focus on is when you get out on the road on your own. And it was probably 3 or 4 days 3 or 4 rides after I finished the class that I worked up the nerve to get further out than the 2 miles worth of road that I live on. That is not a good place for that pipe to be stuck out. Anyway, I had never gone much further than this right here, and probably on this road when I was first starting out, the speed limit's 35 here, and I know I'm going over just a little bit. Everybody else does. If you're hung up on that, just go ahead and click off, because I don't care. But anyway, at the time, I was probably riding about 30-35 through here, because there's no traffic hardly ever, even though there's a dude behind me now. It's close to home. I know it really well, and it's a good place to just build experience. But the first time I pulled out onto this road right here, which is, despite what it looks like, is a state highway, speed limit's 45 because it's a residential with a golf course right here. So first time I pull out on this road, I get it up to 45, and the sensation of 45 miles an hour of wind hitting you in the chest, in the helmet, on the hands. You want to talk about exhilaration. I mean, now I'm doing 55 and it's like nothing. We're just riding. But that first time you feel that, you think, my God, there's no way I'm ever going to be able to get up to 90 miles an hour on this thing, because it's going to blow me off the back. I feel like it's going to blow me off the back right now at 45. But it's just one of those sensations that you don't get driving a car. It's different and, you know, fun. It's enjoyable. It's one of the reasons that people that ride are so attracted to getting out on the bike and riding. I mean, I've got a convertible. If I want open air, all I got to do is throw the top back and go for a drive. But it's not even close to the same. You know, you drive past a cow pasture in a convertible with the top down, you smell cow crap and cut grass and whatever else is out there, and that's the way it is on a motorcycle. But you don't get that wind smacking you in the chest constantly. It's that sensation of riding, almost flying down the road, because the only part of you that's really touching anything, holding you up, is the seat. Everything else is just your extremities on the controls of the motorcycle making it work. I'm 41 years old, and to this day there's not been anything else in the world that I've ever done other than bungee jumping that feels as close to flying through the air as this. But one thing to think about doing if you're planning on starting to ride is find you some earplugs that are going to be comfortable. And if you've gotten to the point where you already have a helmet, try your earplugs on with the helmet in. Make sure you can put it on and take it off without yanking your earplugs out. Because even if you don't have a loud bike, the wind noise inside your helmet can do hearing damage. And it's not like earplugs keep you from hearing what's going on around you. They basically just filter out a lot of some frequencies, and everything else gets a little quieter. Everything, when you first start, everything is going to make you a little bit more nervous than it should. You know, everybody that's behind you is going to be tailgating. Everybody that's in front of you is going to be brake checking you. They're really not. That's just the way you interpret it, because you're a new rider and your reaction time is slow. You know, you have to stop and think before you start to slow down and stop. Okay, I need to reach up with my left hand and grab the clutch. I need to reach up with my right hand and grab the brake. I need to press my foot down on the foot brake. And when you're having to think about it, things just take longer. That's the way it works. It won't be long at all before all that stuff is instinct and your mind goes, I need to slow down, and your hands just do. You know, they'll go where they need to go. It's just a matter of getting out and riding and getting the reps in. Because I remember the first time I got on the highway, you couldn't have drove a greasy needle up my booty hole with a sledgehammer. You want to talk about nervous? I hate to even admit how scared I was. And now it's basically nothing to me. I don't like to ride on the highway because it's so much stop and go. But I do it a lot just because that's where a lot of good video comes from. People with funny stickers on their back windshields, driving like idiots. Not that I'm seeking that stuff out, the idiot drivers. There's no need to seek that out. They will appear no matter where you go. I promise you that. The road is full of them. But the fact that you have to deal with those people is no reason that you should avoid getting on a motorcycle to start with. I mean, not getting on a motorcycle because you're afraid of idiots on the road would be like not going to Walmart ever because you know you're going to run into some stupid pickerhead there. You know what's going to happen before you go. Just suck it up and get out there. I guess the bottom line of this, the point I was trying to make was, yes, if you decide you're going to throw your leg over a motorcycle, the risks involved are greater. But the rewards for doing it are so much greater than driving a car. And he's gay. Looks like a she. I don't know. Like I was saying, the rewards are so much greater because unless you spend a buttload of money on a car, and that was just 3/4 throttle, you're probably not going to be able to take off like that, and you're certainly not going to feel what I just felt if you're in a car when you do that. But thanks to my lack of planning anything out, I've said so many things that made absolutely no sense. And I've rambled, absolutely freaking rambled for way too long. But I hope there's enough savable video that I could make a little post about the good parts of how it feels when you first get on a motorcycle, that I at least don't turn anybody off from getting on a motorcycle. Yeah, I'm trying to get people out here on the road with me, despite what it probably seems like in a lot of my videos. One thing about it, anybody that's ever thought about doing this, I say if you've got a half a set of cojones about you, you owe it to yourself to give it a shot, because just like anything else, you never know till you try.